Hi, Dan O'Sullivan here for Home Field, the vintage-inspired college t-shirt brand that's gonna change your life. Is your closet still full of the same raggedy, itchy shirts from your college freshman orientation? Oh wow, that's pretty itchy to me. Look at how raggedy these raggedy shirts are over here. Look at that, see you later. Great news, you're an adult now, which means you can go ahead and buy extremely comfortable, high-quality shirts from your favorite school with great designs. Do you need to shop for the sports fan in your life who has little to no personality outside their favorite sports team? Well, Home Field has you covered with 150 plus schools to choose from and designs that any sports fan will enjoy. Have you ever wondered why colleges went away from their classic and vintage logos? Well, Home Field is bringing those designs back.
Finally, a brand that appreciates the good old days.
I told you to stay in your room, Grandpa. Now get off the set. Go. Get out of here. Unique campus traditions, campus ice cream stores, marching bands, baseball scripts, national championships, surfing anteaters, dunking elephants, so many retired mascots. And if that's not your jam, we have a rock and a mink coat. Just look at everything that you get with Home Field. But you gotta act now. Each premium officially licensed t-shirt sells for $34. But if you shop in the next 20 minutes, you're gonna get the same premium officially licensed t-shirt for the same price of $34. There's no difference.
What is going on, everyone? It is Keaton Hargett here. Packed and loaded. Great show today. I'm coming out a little bit earlier. I've been trying to kind of work the schedule into getting a little bit earlier, like more of a Sunday or a Monday podcast. Just because I figure Friday, I don't do a whole lot of pregame. We already have a formed opinion. But before I start, I have to make sure that I mention that go to homefieldapparel.com for the radio listeners are now on Apple Podcasts, but Spotify specifically. We have a full ad here on the YouTube for our Home Field. I know that just gets you all fired up. But go to homefieldapparel.com. The shirt I'm wearing right now, it's one of the softest shirts I've ever worn. I'm actually wearing the joggers as well. It has the vintage Oklahoma State Pistol Pete logo. 15% off. Use code word probs at checkout. So it's pretty cool. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at OKStateProbs or Instagram OKStateProbs. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, make sure that you're clicking the little notification bell, giving some 5 stars, because obviously, you know, I've come a long way from giving little ads to now I'm paired with Home Field, which I'm very excited about. They're actually a really killer brand, and I really appreciate y'all for getting me here. So let's get into it. Obviously, there's a lot going on. Oklahoma State got absolutely routed by South Alabama. Personally, I was in Arkansas for my younger brother's 21st birthday. A couple episodes ago, he came on as a guest, and I was really excited to go to Arkansas. Some great fans at BYU. They're absolutely some of the most polite fans I've ever met. Beautiful out in the hill country, and it was awesome out there. But I was really excited because I didn't think South Alabama had it in them, and I understand that the roster that we have right now, in my own opinion, is not exactly the roster that we've seen, with Spencer Sanders and a couple of the other dudes in there that really showed out. And I feel like Gundy is in this weird predicament specifically. I haven't seen a 3-quarterback system work the way that it has, and I never thought Gundy would be in a position that he was in at a sold-out ball game at home, in front of a lot of donors, all the fans that could fill up Boone Pickens, and lose to South Alabama. And I'm not discrediting South Alabama. South Alabama is a very good squad, and they typically are a good squad. I should know. I'm a sports gambler. I enjoy watching spreads. I like seeing where people are. And South Alabama is one of those teams that typically covers, but Vegas doesn't have the full scoreboard and doesn't decide games. So it's just a weird situation in the fact that we really do have like a team without a face. And Gundy, in my opinion, and I guess I should start with this. A lot of people ask me if I'm pro Gundy or anti Gundy. And shout out to OG Probs, the guy who ran the account for me, because he was taking care of a lot of the social media coverage beforehand with the Probs account while I was at the Arkansas game. And Granted, I was listening to it on my phone, but he has his opinions about Gundy, and he's anti-Gundy, and that's okay. You know, I feel like with Gundy, it's year up, year down, and without 2021, in my opinion, is I don't know if Gundy would be here. I mean, you go and you look at the 2021 season, and we're 1 yard short of making the college football playoffs. We go to the Fiesta Bowl, beat Notre Dame after being down 28-7. Following year, we go 1-6 to close out the year. And everything seemed to be well, and I know I keep saying his name, but everything seemed to be going well when we had Spencer Sanders. And Spencer Sanders, he got a lot of people hating, a lot of people. And I defended Spencer a lot. And I'm not saying that's the only problem. But Spencer was under a lot of distress. He had a lot of men running out, and the O-line was not in great shape. But Spencer figured it out. And there was a lot on the defense. Jim Knowles coached a very great defense, and we didn't seem to lose a huge step going and getting Derek Mason. Now we have Brian Nardo. I'm not opposed to any of these things. I'm just curious as to how you find yourself in that situation when you're a yard short of making the college football playoffs 2 years prior. Now, one of the big things that I can kind of gesture towards, and I'm friends with all of these players. You know, I get a lot of people talking to me, a lot of people mentioning me from within, you know, what their opinions are. And I like Alan Bowman a lot. And I was really excited that Gundy was kind of going out of his comfort zone and getting a transfer quarterback. I thought Bowman would be a lot better than he was, but if you listen to other episodes, it's not hard to say that, I mean, they all kind of look about the same. I can go down the stat line. You know, we can talk about different ways they drove the ball, the nasty interception Alan Bowman has. Quarterbacks have those. But we're going, almost 50%. So we have 9 for 18 with Gunner, 6 for 12 with Alan Bowman, 1 for 5 with Garrett Rangel. Now, Garrett Rangel had some problems. He was in the hospital this last week, but according to my sources, he still made it to make up for film lost. And he put in the extra work to find himself out there. But that game was over from the get-go. And Gundy is a lot smarter than what I believe the people who hate him are giving him credit for. And I don't really have a defining role on how much I like Gundy or how much I hate Gundy, because there's times where Gundy looks like the greatest coach in college football, and there's times that he doesn't. I think that he was advantageous going and getting Alan Bowman out of the transfer portal, Tay Martin out of the transfer portal. But it's not really bowing well for him. And I can tell you right now, Pokes with the Purpose has raised a lot of money. A lot of money. Whenever I joined Pokes with the Purpose, they were $30,000 in the hole. They've raised millions. Millions. And it's a little bit far-fetched to say, you know, I'm a firm believer that teams really do match the city that they're in. For example, you know, the 2001 Hurricanes, they matched Miami. They were mean. They partied. People called them convicts. The Texas Longhorns, you know, a very fighting story. Everything's bigger in Texas in 2005. Alabama, you got Nick Saban, a bunch of big, mean guys from Alabama. Teams match their city and where they are located. And Oklahoma State, believe it or not, in a town that doesn't have enough population to have a super target, is a little bit behind when it comes to these things. And I guess the question that I'm proposing is, what are the expectations versus what Gundy's meeting? Because you're looking at Gundy, who was a pretty good quarterback in college. He's never switched up on Oklahoma State. And Gundy is playing 3 quarterbacks. I think everyone and their brother knows that a 3 quarterback system does not work. It doesn't. And Gundy, in my opinion, is used to being able to kind of groom a quarterback. We all know he doesn't like playing freshmen. He likes to build a team and then eventually go and play them when they're ready. I think Alan Bowman came in and he didn't feel as if he was ready. And that's why we're going into week 4 on the road conference play with 3 quarterbacks. It's shocking. It is. And I feel like as a fan, I'm kind of chasing that feeling of 2021 when it didn't matter who was in front of us. And I just want the expectations to be understood by everyone that Gundy normally knows what he's doing. And we hired him because he's supposed to know football better than all of us. He's given a lot to the university. I'm not taking anything away from that. But what I do want to kind of transition to is in Gundy's press conference, he talked about Deion Sanders. And for the radio audience, this is all on video on YouTube, but I'll go ahead and play the clip.
You ever seen anything like what we're seeing out of Deion?
In what area?
In this
Well, he got
awful program, and all of a sudden he's got 80 new players, and they're
Yeah.
against a pretty good schedule. They're 3-0.
Yeah, somebody asked me about him 3 or 4 weeks ago. Here's the thing with Coach Sanders. The thing that I don't know him, but here's what I like. He's going to do what he wants the way he wants to do it, and he believes in it, and he don't care what anybody else thinks. Now, he may be making more from Burger King and Aflac and whoever else, and it might not matter, which is all the power to him. But from a distance, what I see is this is what he believes in, and this is what he did. And I'm guessing that they would have to practice against each other all the time because their roster numbers would be down. But it's worked out for him. Now, I haven't really seen them play much. I saw him play a little bit at TCU, but I haven't seen him play anymore. But the part I did see is that his son is making a lot of plays, or is making a really good player, making a lot of plays, and they're playing into his strengths. And I thought that was good. But it'll be great for our conference. But he certainly proved that you can get rid of your whole team and bring a new team in and play good.
He's smart. He's smart. He knows what's going on, and I know I can't revert to it enough. I don't think that Gundy wanted to play 3 quarterbacks. I still don't think he wants to play 3 quarterbacks. I think he wants someone to step up, and he's waiting for anyone to do it. But with these numbers, 50%, 1 for 5, Gundy's not going to choose a starting quarterback out of that until someone steps up, and none of them. That was one of the first things I noticed from week 1. I remember looking over and telling my girlfriend, all of these quarterbacks look the exact same. And it made sense to me and it clicked. But for people to ridicule Gundy and say, oh, well, he has no clue. He just wants to play his son. I promise you, if Gunner showed on the field that he should be the guy, then he would be the guy. I'm not opposed to anything, but I can tell you one thing. A lot of people are upset. And I talked to a lot of people behind doors. I talked to athletes, the donors. The donors are pissed. And I just want everyone to kind of pump the brakes a little bit, recognize what's going on, and kind of figure out where exactly you want this program to be. Now, when it comes to the future and what's going to occur, is Gundy on the hot seat? That's a question that I can't really figure out. And it's kind of been that way since I first attended Oklahoma State in 2018. It's like it's always been a 50-50 battle. And where Oklahoma State is standing, especially with, defensive stars and Kendall Daniels and Colin Oliver. We have Ollie Gordon. We got a lot of great players in this team. And the only person that seems that it's kind of falling on is the quarterback. And I think that if there's one thing kind of lost in misconception that I could imagine being Gundy is that I think that Gundy believes more people are on his side than not. And I don't think that's a problem either. He made a joke. He talked about how Nick Saban and himself are the same exact person. I'll go ahead and play the clip.
You mentioned Alabama. Is there just more parity everywhere?
Yeah, and he texted me. They played 3 quarterbacks, right? Yeah, or am I wrong? Yeah, see, he and I are just the same.
But not the reasons that you guys do.
He just has 6 or 7. He's got 6 or 7 national championships, but he and I are the same.
Gundy's telling you something. He's telling you these quarterbacks aren't ready. And when Alabama lost to Texas, they were struggling. I think it was 3-3 going into half at USF. Now, in the middle of a hurricane, but their donors and their fans started kind of saying the same things about Gundy. And this is where, yes, Gundy mentioned it as well. Saban's got 7 national championships. I'm not taking anything away from that, and I'm not comparing them directly. All I'm saying is that Saban's going through the same thing. Is he too old? Is Alabama done with? Yeah, he's not adapting to the transfer portal. He's losing people to the transfer portal. He won't go with NIL. He's older. He's older. And there's nothing wrong with that. People think different ways. You know, you look at Saban and what he did with his 3 quarterbacks. Saban said, all right, screw it. I'll play anyone other than our starting quarterback, Jalen Milroe. And he played 3 total quarterbacks in that game just to show all the donors and all the fans that he was right and that Jalen Milroe should be starting. I don't think Oklahoma State has a quarterback. Like, it's baffling to say that because we've been so lucky between Mason Rudolph, Brandon Whedon right before him. We had Taylor Cornelius. We had some studs that were true starting quarterbacks that Gundy knew immediately off of his amazing instinct. Hey, that dude's going to play quarterback for Oklahoma State. He's going to take all the snaps. I don't think any of these guys got it. And I'm a fan of them. I'm friends with them, and I got nothing wrong to say with them. I don't know if I'd say necessarily I'm friends with them, but I talk to them, and I think they're great guys. And I would love for any of them to step up just as much as anyone else would. But it's not going to happen without that. And a big part of what's going on today, and I know that this is like a full Gundy, like centralized podcast, so I really appreciate everyone bearing with me. But this is going to come out tomorrow morning, and I'm really excited for all the listeners. But people are very impatient, and I talked about it earlier in podcast. Is I like Deion Sanders, and I like Coach Prime and the Prime Effects. Walk into the room of a really crappy college football team. Colorado was getting beat. They were 1-11 last year. They were getting beat on an average of 30-plus points. He walked in and got rid of everyone and brought in his own people. And Gundy referenced it, saying that, well, he has the 2 sons. And then I completely agree. But people want to play for Deion Sanders. And let's not even take it to that extreme. What occurred last year? TCU, Sonny Dykes. In the first year, they had a coach from SMU, Southern Methodist, which, by the way, they're not getting a media rights share in the ACC for the first 9 years. I'm 26, so I'll be 35 by the time they get a media share deal. They raised over $100 million last night. Now, that's a whole different deal. My point being is, Sonny Dykes came in, brought in some new players. All of a sudden, they go to the national championship. The coach of Texas State, I think he replaced 70% of his roster. G.J. Keene, if I'm pronouncing that right. He went into Waco. Texas State had never beaten a Power 5 team. They won there. Fans are growing impatient. And you can blame it on my generation. We don't like to wait. We want it now. We don't like to climb. We don't care about the journey. We want the destination. And it's good for college football. It is. And it's just like anything else in sports. It's adapt or die. I think Brad Pitt said it the best when he was talking in Moneyball. And they were talking about how he was going into advanced analytics, and the coach got just hopping mad. He said, "You're going to ruin this ball club." And Brad Pitt looked at him and said, "Hey, adapt or die." And it's always been like that in sports. Steph Curry revolutionized basketball. You can't shoot a three-pointer. It's not going to work here. It's not going to work here. Nikola Jokic, you're watching it right now. MVP or not MVP. He won back-to-back MVPs and won the finals last year. People want European players, and they want them big. Giannis Antetokounmpo size, because that's what's winning. And I personally believe that Gundy is smart enough to recognize that. I don't think Gundy's stupid. I think he's a long-tenured coach who knows what's going on. I think he works with what he's got. He knows how to control the media room. And I like the way he represents Oklahoma State. I obviously want Oklahoma State to do best or the best in any competition. But when it comes to Gundy and all the haters, you got to take that into consideration. And I'm not shy of saying that Coach the Purpose has raised more than a couple $1 million. I think that we should use it. That's my own personal opinion. And I love everything that they do for all the athletes. I love being a part of the organization. I think Gundy loves the athletes. And you can get mixed opinions on that or whatever, but you got to take it into consideration. He might be getting old. Then again, we might just not have a starting quarterback. He might be writing this season off, which is a really bad way to do it with the last Bedlam coming up. But Gundy's not an idiot. He's got something figured out that we don't, and I think that he's telling us right now what's right blatantly in front of us. And it sucks losing, and we all know that. Not every year can be 2021, and man, some decisions need to be made because people are pissed. But other than that, I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you've listened this far in, make sure that you are using code word PROBS. That's PROBS on homefieldapparel.com. I'm telling y'all, it's literally the softest material for all my video audience. I'm stretching it as far as I can. It's coming right back. It's some of the best material you'll ever get. 150 schools. And man, they really do own the game. I don't think there's a better game day apparel right now than Home Field Apparel. And make sure you're following me on all socials. Twitter, I'm sure a lot of y'all do. That's kind of where the platform really started. TikTok, I just broke 2,200 followers at the Probscast. And I really appreciate everyone for tuning in and listening. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, that like button, whatever it may be. I really appreciate y'all and everything that y'all have got me to. So other than that, go Pokes.